Welcome to Cats and Rats Podcast, covering your Florida Panthers.
Hey everyone, welcome to the newest episode of the Cats and Rats Podcast, episode number 30. A lot of goalies on this one here, Cody. Spencer Knight, Mark Fitzpatrick, Scott Clemenson, but this new shirt I'm wearing, if you guys are watching us on the YouTube channel here, this is the best of them all. Roberto Luongo. We've got a new shirt here from Pro Shop One. So we're going to do a giveaway here. And throughout the month here on our Instagram and Twitter side, and members are going to tell me their favorite Roberto Luongo moments. So we're going to tweet that out and also put it on our Instagram post stories there as well. So there's a new shirt here from Pro Shop One. We'll put it in the ad description. They have a lot of goalie shirts. Mike Richter, Archie Urbe, Eddie the Eagle Belfour. So yeah, they specialize in a lot of different goalie design shirts. So I love this one and collabing with them. So
though. We have our friend Vincent Shipe on, and I think I could speak for him and I think our favorite Luongo moment is probably the speech he gave after the MSD shootings, because me and Vince at the time went to high school very close in that area, and it kind of hit close to home with that. And
good moment to mention.
Best speech, best pregame speech ever.
Yeah, and that was around the time that I was really getting into the game, when I first really started following it more than just kind of casually. So yeah, that was kind of a really special moment. And then of course they went on that great run and just barely missed the playoffs that year. But so that entire 2018, like from January to March, April, that run, that's pretty special.
If only the Rangers could have beat Philly, because that was the game that knocked us out. But anyway, we start off...
Just saying, if we had made the playoffs that year, there's a good chance Bob Boughner would have stuck around for a few more years, and we might not be where we are now. So
I'll take the L. Like I said,
I'll
take every L we had for that cup win again. But starting off, big news coming out opening night for the Panthers. Carter Verhaeghe extended 8 years, $7 million. We don't have to wait to the 13th hour and a half this time.
We were on live on Spaces, Cody.
We were. I thought it was a joke at first. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was a joke because I'm just like, huh? Like, really now? But it wasn't.
And the quotes were Cody, Carter Verhaeghe's camp said they had it pretty much done before the opening night game. They just had to dot the I's, cross the T's, get it done post game there, and a lot of work had been done behind the scenes on it. We never hear with Bill Zito; always keeps everything close to his vest, as we say. So I know you guys are going to break into the numbers and maybe some quotes as well.
Yeah. So Carter Verhaeghe, 8 years, $7 million. Only has $1 million of actual salary each year of that contract, so fully buyout proof. Has a full has a full no trade for the first 5 years, has a modified no trade for the last 3 years.
Was it no trade or no move? I think I remember you saying
no move, my bad. No move. Yeah. No move, no trade, same damn thing.
Close. You just can't put no move on waivers.
Yeah. But if I don't see Verhaeghe ever being on waivers ever again.
And if the NHL expands again, which story for another episode, then we got to protect him, which we have to protect a 40-goal scorer.
So we're going to go into another recent Florida Panther that re-signed with the Panthers. But before we do, guys, what is the ramifications you think of this deal, Verhaeghe? What does it mean for others? How do you see this playing out?
It doesn't mean much for others, to be honest. If you were a Panther fan and you knew the free agent class going into this year, headlined by 3 names, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Ekblad, Verhaeghe was the priority. Just like last year where it was like Montour, Forsling, Reinhart was the priority. Like, there's a clear guy. The other two, you're not sure which one. I don't think there's much ramifications for every other guy on the team, but it's just you're locked into the core for the next 6 years, which includes Aleksander Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk, Gustav Forsling, Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Reinhart, Anton Lundell.
I think that's our core.
Yeah, that is 5. That is, if Knight gets back to where Knight develops to where he could be, he'll be a part of that core as well.
But he's still got a couple of years.
Yeah, but we have some guys on the outside bubble looking in, but you have 5 of your top 6 sign for the next 6 years, and I'm including Sam Bennett in that. I don't think he's going to be re-signed. I'll be shocked if he is, but yeah.
I'm leaning that way too, Cody.
Well, Cody just threw a grenade in the middle of a live recording. Then
We're not going to that direction.
well, that's a story for another episode.
Look,
I agree with Cody on pretty much everything he said. I think the big thing is, it was a lot easier for this group of three big free agents to kind of figure out who the priority was, because last year it was, you knew they were going to try and keep one or both of Forsling and Montour, at least put in a really good effort. This year, I would say, as much as I like Ekblad, there's a very good chance he plays himself out of town or ends up pricing himself out. Sam Bennett, again, he's a guy who's 28, 29, plays a physical game, and is going to be a really big piece on the market. And of course, as Kirby mentioned, his agent likes to walk his clients to free agency. So I think it was kind of a lot easier to say, all right, this is really the guy we need to zero in on and keep. And also, of course, since they've already paid Reinhart, they already paid Lundell, they already paid Forsling, there's a lot less moving pieces where you have to figure out how much you're going to budget for those other guys, because those other guys have already been paid. So Verhaeghe kind of being the fourth guy due up, it ends up making it easier for him because it's not as protracted. It doesn't drag out as much, and you don't really have to play the math of, okay, if we pay Verhaeghe this much, how much we'd be able to pay player X the next summer, because we really don't have any other big free agents coming up after 2025, at least unless of course Knight pans out into something great. And I'm not including Bobrovsky in that because he's going to be 37 when
but he's
a
an
free
RFA
agent.
at the end of his deal, so we'll be all right.
That too with Knight, but so
Yeah,
was Lundell, and of course he got a nice payday. But
yeah.
Bobrovsky, of course, he's going to be 37, so it's how much is he really going to be
Like,
getting,
if
and for
Bob
how
doesn't
long?
go retire or go back to the KHL, which I think are
It'd be like a 1 year, $3 million deal, something like that, kind of similar to what Fleury got in Minnesota.
I wouldn't mind that for Bobo.
Yeah, that's what I want to do, the 1 year with Bob.
If he wanted to stay, that'd be worth it.
But let's talk about the guy,
Another winger that we've got a lot of money put into.
winger / center,
We mentioned him a little bit.
Mr. Sam Reinhart. Our lovely analytics geek Vince put some stats up for Reinhart.
Now, I wanted to bring Vince back, Cody, because you remember when we had Vince on with Lex, one of our other Spaces co-hosts, he kind of hinted at Reinhardt shooting percentages and deeper numbers. So I said, hey, Vince, let's get you on the podcast this week and break down Reinhardt's numbers a little bit more in detail here. So he's got some graphs and charts. If you're over on the YouTube side, we'll walk you through it on the audio version, but it's really recommended this year you jump over to the YouTube channel because you'll get a lot out of it.
Yep. So starting off here, we're going to start with shots on goal per game in the NHL.
I would have started shots on goal per season, to be honest. That's kind of the easiest one to explain.
We'll do that one then.
All right.
So little
so
live audible right there.
Yeah. The football scout in me is coming out again, so
But so
if you're on the YouTube channel, you're seeing a bar graph here with Sam Reinhart's shots on goal per season. The main thing really I want to point out with this, when people talk about, the fact that he scored 57 goals last year and how sustainable that is that he's been shooting a lot more over the last 2 seasons than he has at any other point in his career, both in terms of number of shots and also per game. Obviously, you can see in 2019-20 and 2020-21, the shortened seasons, he's a lot fewer shots just because there were a lot fewer games that year. That 130 in 2021, that's only in 56 games. So obviously it's going to be a lot lower, or look a lot lower than it would be in his first year in Florida when he played, I think, the full 82, or at least close to it.
He played the full
186. He did? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he had 82 points in 82 games. I think he was he was a point per game his first year. I remember that. I think that's exactly where he was at.
Yeah. Proof we live in a simulation then.
No.
But yeah, like the past 2 years under Maurice, he's been utilized as a shooter a lot more. First year when he had pretty rancid shooting luck, 227 shots, ended up with a 30-goal season that drove the fan base insane because apparently that's a down year. I'll take a 30-goal down year every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And then last year, of course, he played the full 82 games, or I think he did. Yeah. He
He
plays
did.
the full 82 more often than not. That's the thing. It's like
I was wrong on the first year. He played 78 games, had 82 points, so he was above a point
Oh,
per
so it's
game.
the 78 games. I thought he was 78 points. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
78 games, and then he goes 82, 82.
Yeah, he
And
always plays either the full 82 or like really close to it. He's knock on wood. He's been lucky to not have to miss a lot of games.
but
Obviously the last couple of years, I wanted to start with this one because it's an easy one to explain. It's just in terms of raw number, he's shooting a lot more.
and,
227, 233 shots. That means over the last 2 years, that's 460 shots over 2 seasons, which easy math. 200, that's 230 shots per season. So
Vince, did you look at any guys that were comparable to that within the past 2 years? At a winger, top line guys, wingers.
Well, it's because it was a little bit short notice. I couldn't go that deep into it, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw somebody like Chris Kreider put up that many shots. Granted, of course, most of his are going to be tip-ins.
Yeah, different
but
variety.
Like it's going to be a different kind of shot. Like Kreider tips in front of the net. Reinhardt's in that high slot area where he's actually kind of shooting and more than deflecting it.
Yep.
Do you have the heat wave charts for me, Vince?
He's asked. You asked about it. I looked. They were all behind a paywall.
Oh, okay.
We all know where the hell the hot spot is. It's in.
We know where the hot spot is. It's between the circles.
We know where it is, but it's just visually pleasing to see.
I would love to show it visually, but some people don't like to make things free and be nice to people these days.
Yeah. We should be glad that we have a new cap website. Puckpedia.
Puckpedia, yeah. I mean, Cap Wages is like trying to do the cap friendly thing, but they're still very much in the beta testing kind of thing. But yeah, Puckpedia is good for now. If Cap Wages works out the kinks, then guess what? We got two. So yeah, we can move on to shots on goal per game now because it's a natural transition because obviously, of course, again, I mentioned in those shortened seasons, it's going to look like he shoots a lot less. But if you account for the number of games that are actually being played, it looks a little bit better, and you kind of get a better idea as to how much he's actually shooting, or at least a better picture of it. And of course, as you can clearly see, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, but I'll try and explain it here. The past 2 years in Florida under the Maurice system, been shooting a lot more. Been shooting who shot 2.77 shots per game. I almost said goals per game, which that'd be quite something if he was putting up 2 goals a game.
Not that year.
No, not that year. He was lucky to get 3 goals every 6 games that year. But 2.77 shots per game, so obviously shooting a lot more. And then this past completed season, he's at 2.84 shots on goal per game. And I did look this year; it's only 2 games, but he's already at 2.5. He had 5 shots in 2 games. I would expect that number to kind of go up a little bit as the season goes on. So he'll probably end up around 2.7 to 2.8 shots on goal per game once more. And of course, those are career highs for him. Before that, he was pretty much always shooting around 2.2 to 2.3 shots per game. Consistent, but not really at a high level. And obviously he's been shooting a lot more in recent years. And again, if you're on YouTube, if you see this blue line here and wondering what that is basically taking each of the 3 years before that season and getting the average of those 3 years. So I have it written down here. Let me see. Yeah, so he has wait, actually, maybe I don't have that written down. Oh, wait, no, actually I do. 2.66 shots per game. Sorry, I had trouble reading my own handwriting there. So about 2.6. Yeah, I know. Yeah, legal pad here, so it's the way it goes. If I wasn't so squeamish, I'd be a great doctor. I have the handwriting for it already. But yeah, about 2.66 shots per game over the last 3 seasons. Again, obviously a huge upward trend generally from where he started his career. So he's going to be shooting a lot again. I think it's a pretty fair assumption to say he's going to be shooting a lot again. I would say probably around 230. I did do the math on this. If you project that 2.5 number that I mentioned earlier, it's a lot of numbers I'm throwing at you, I know. But if you project the 2.5 shots per game just over the full 82, that'd be 218 shots in a season. I think he's probably going to end up closer to 230. So
Which where he was last year, yeah.
He was at 233 last year and 227 the year before that. I think he probably ends up somewhere around there again. So that's really the big thing there. He's shooting a lot more, and I think you can expect him to continue shooting at a similar clip in terms of just the number of shots per game. Cody, we can move on to the shooting percentage graph now.
And with the Barkov injury week to week, we can expect those shot totals to probably go up here in the next month.
Yeah, Kirby throwing in a little news nugget in there that Barkov's going to be out week to week. I would expect that as well.
We're going to shooting percentage.
And the shooting percentage. Yeah. This is where the real nitty gritty comes into play.
This is where the crutch of the argument is, because I have this written down. So ESPN had a list of players they felt were going to regress. And Reinhart, I think, was the second name on there. And basically they said, well, he had a 24.5 shooting percentage in 23-24, which, again, if you're watching on YouTube and see the graph, that is true. They got that right.
It's basically they scored a goal once every 4 shots.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But they said, well, he has a career shooting percentage of 15.6%. So they seem to expect him to really fall off.
To 19%?
No, I don't know if they're projecting 18-19, but they seem to have him as a very high regression candidate.
Wow.
I think they're probably thinking he ends up closer to 15 or 16%, which taking those shot numbers I mentioned earlier, that 218 to 230 range, that would put him at 34 to 36 goals on the season. Not bad, but I think they're underselling him here. I really think they're underselling it because, again, that's over the span of a whole career. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you have 2 seasons where his shooting percentage is really low early on. In his second season, he had a sub-10 shooting percentage. He's not going to shoot that badly again. No way he shoots that badly again. And then in 18-19, his fourth season, that's 12
sponsors.
Unless he starts using whatever sticks Ekblad used at shatter every time he tries to shoot. But
I mean, what about Barkov? Ekblad hasn't a stick shattered on him in like a year.
We're not getting on Barkov. That never happened.
I mean, the one time is
between his hands. How bad does it got to be made?
I'll be honest. I didn't even think it broke between his hands. I thought he just spooned the shot and it went flying like a bad golf swing.
It just broke. But this
was unfortunate. That was bad.
But this was one thing I was harping on Spaces, like not last year, but the year before, where Reinhart was just like, it was 13.7% in 22-23. And it was,
he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
It was the
October,
November, Cody, where he was snake bitten. He was getting set up.
He was getting set up. He was hitting posts. He was missing the net. It was
missing the net.
It was just, he couldn't hit a basketball with an ironing board. It was just like that kind of level of it. And
I position to shoot and score now that he's comfortable with, Cody. Maybe just getting used to those positions, that bumper, high slot.
But he wasn't. But I think the confidence is different now, because
for sure.
I don't know if he does that shorthanded shot like he did against Boston game one of the season in that season, because that shot. I don't know if
that's
people
a
realize
difficult shot.
That's elite level, like.
And that was Bedard mixed with Dylan Gunther, they said.
No, it's just Reinhart. Reinhart's older, done it
Fellow
more.
Canadians. Come on.
Nah.
You know what Dylan Gunther's doing right now. But Cody,
he's helping your fantasy team against me, Kirby. But he's helping me in my other league, so it all evens out.
Multi-goal games, right? But Cody,
4 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, they were trying to really force feed that Barkov Reinhart chemistry and connection when it wasn't working there that season. And then, you see them kind of split apart there. You see where Reinhart plays on that third line, especially in that series against Toronto. But last year, Cody, it was established. Barkov Reinhart.
It was all thanks to Evan Rodriguez. Because
magic elixir, I call
him. Yeah.
Because
But of course, we don't need Evan Rodriguez. He's he's the $3 million. We can't afford to pay him $3 million. I'm sorry. Some of the takes that I would hear on Spaces actually like they were not good takes. They made me actually kind of want to just turn off my phone and chuck it into a lake.
I still want to know who the heck said that one quote. I still want to
Don't
know.
get me wrong. I love our spaces. They're great. I love it when people come up and talk in
But
them.
but
I
when
was
you
a casual at one point too. I once didn't know much of anything either.
but when
Trust me, I used to be that guy too.
but when we
I just
lose,
want
But
to say with
some of them, it's like, you just kind of want to tear your hair out hearing some of it.
I just want to say our co-host Nick Levine, that's not here today, him and I doing some film on Erod, and you try to let the fans know. And I was wrong on Erod with the PP one,
yeah,
but
yeah,
just him getting Reinhart and Barkov going, that's enough for me. Even though he was a bit of a failure, on the PP one, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
he
the
lasted
main
what, 5 games?
Yeah, it might have been.
it wasn't long. The wild shot really didn't help him.
It's funny. It's like his first like actual one timer on the power play didn't come until like game 3 against Boston, and and Kirby's like, there was the damn one timer when. Where is it all year? And it's just
he
right
was
there.
keeping it hidden. He was keeping it hidden.
And you know what's funny? It was a bomb too. It was bomb
Oh
left
yeah.
side. I could just imagine Kirby just going.
So where was that all season?
Like,
But anyways,
I
back
think
to
frustrating.
Reinhart. So that fourth season where he had a shooting percentage of 12.2, those 2 early seasons of 2 of his first 4 seasons should really not be considered if you're talking about regression. I understand it's over the course of a career, but what a guy does at 19 is probably not going to have much bearing as to what he's going to do in the league when he's 28, especially if he's already 28.
And situations change. Buffalo was bad, has been bad
They
ever
were
since
his
2009.
second year was the year they were tanking to get McDavid,
And they
and
got
they didn't
Eichel.
get McDavid. Not a bad consolation prize. Eichel, #1 center on a cup-winning team, but
It'd be too bad they
not
didn't
on
win the damn
Buffalo.
cup.
Not on Buffalo.
They haven't even sniffed the playoffs. Yeah, they.
So we got no more charts, no more numbers here.
Those were
That's the last of the charts, but I do kind of want to expand.
We want to encapsulate what this means.
I do want to encapsulate. So again, that blue line that you saw, if Cody wants to pull it back up, he can, but he doesn't have to. It's out there. The blue line you saw again, moving average over the last 3 years. That's kind of the number that we're kind of operating under. So as you can see, his average over the last 3 years in terms of shooting percentage was 18.6%. To me, that's that doesn't mean he's going to get exactly 18.6% in his shooting percentage, but I think that's a more accurate projection as to what he might actually get, which, again, using those shot numbers, 218 to 230 shots, because again, just in case there's anybody, I maybe should have mentioned this earlier, but in case there's anybody who's not sure how shooting percentage works, it's basically the percentage of shots that you have that were goals. So it's goals divided by shots times 100. That's simple.
Yep. With the decimal place over to the right 2 times.
Yep.
And
that's why I multiply by 100. It's
early Vince. There's regression to the mean on some of that stuff. You even look at a guy like Leon Draisaitl, who had like an MVP year, then his regression to the mean. So it does fluctuate year to year.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can, again, if you're on YouTube and you're seeing this graph, you can see it. You have years where he goes from 13.9 to 9.6 up to 13.3, and then 17.7 to 13.7 up to 24.5. And even then, there's a time in the middle where it's 15.3 to 19.2. So yeah, there's a lot of fluctuation in these numbers anyway. But of course, if you're going to talk about, well, what can we expect from Reinhart this year? I think it helps to at least kind of have what's a close idea as to what he could put up, rather than just, this is what his career number is, so let's just go with that.
At the worst, he gets 30. At the most,
at the very worst, I think he gets 30. Like he would have to put up another 14% shooting percentage in order to get 30. I don't think it'd be that low again. So if it's around,
sorry, I just want to say Leon Draisaitl's fourth year was 12.9%. His MVP year went up to 21.6. Matter of 1 year, 12.9 to 21.6.
Yeah. And when guys that have big goal scoring years sign big contracts, that is the one stat that is usually brought up quite a bit. Because, for example,
it was brought up when Bo Horvat signed his deal.
That was going to be my example, Mr. Bo Horvat, because before Bo Horvat was traded, he had 31 goals in 49 games, which is like around maybe a 50 goal, 50 goals for 82, right around that pace.
I think I'm probably a little bit better than 50, maybe like closer to 55. I can use the phone. I can just calculate that right now. So 31 and 49.
Yep, he was shooting 21%.
52 would be 52 goals. So yeah.
So he was shooting 21%. And then the very next year, then when he got traded to the Islanders, it dropped down to 8. Then his first full season on the island, he had 13% shooting percentage.
Yeah.
So,
it's a number that fluctuates. It's going to happen. That's one. It's kind of the gambler's fallacy where it's just because it was one number one year doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the number the next year, or it's going to completely there's going to be different numbers. There's going to be variation. That's what happens.
I want to throw some other numbers there, guys, that are outside of those numbers. Sam Reinhart over the last 3 years, 16 power play goals, 16, and then last year, 27. So people have been messaging me, Vince, and this is why we're doing this episode. Kirby, what do you expect for Reinhart? Is there going to be a huge drop-off? I'll take 16 power play goals. Give me 18 or whatever. It might not be 27 this year.
I don't think he gets 27, but I mean, if the power play hasn't been figured out by the rest of the league, which I don't know, we'll see, because in the first 2 games, it's had some hit or miss moments. If the rest of the league hasn't figured it out, or we get it going again,
all misses, man. We're 0 for 8.
You could get 20.
As of this recording, we're 0 for 8. There's no hits or miss. It's just all missed.
We need Boquist back.
That helps.
That's the worst thing in the world. Like, we have a power play quarterback, and he's like moving the puck quick. Everyone's excited. Boom, puck to the face. You're just like,
that's just rotten luck. There's really no. You can't scheme for that. You can't measure that. That's just rotten luck.
The most underrated part of winning is luck.
You need luck.
Yep.
I mean, look at the Panthers run. People are gonna get mad. The Bennett goaltender interference in Game 4, was it? Game 4.
Yeah,
that was goalie interference. Let's be real.
It was. I said it at the time, guys. That's GI. That is. I'm sorry.
I walked out of my room. I was upset because I thought it was goaltender interference, and they called it
GI. I'm thinking of other things. Gastrointestinal. I'm dealing with a lot of that. That's what I'm thinking.
That or Kirby's thinking of the GI Bill or something.
Shout out to Canadian Ryan with the heartburn too, and he's a lot younger than me.
I mean, I'm used to seeing Twitter abbreviation notation where it's like, GI. I just immediately think, goalie interference. And everyone just puts like, the league really needs to figure out what GI really is, and like everyone has that. It's the same thing like with targeting in college football, where it's every week there seems to be we need to really have a discussion as to what really constitutes this, and it's like. So maybe we really need to figure it out if everyone's talking about it.
So you mean the acronym is GI and everyone knows that, just like VCR means Vancouver, right?
No, not like that.
Yes,
God.
Yes. That's not an Elliott thing. That's the original.
Vancouver is Van. VAN.
EY, Calgary Flames. VCR, Vancouver. WSH, Washington.
I love
Kirby. I'll admit. See, here's the thing. WSH, I'm fine with for Washington. CGY, I'm fine for Calgary because CAL could also be like California. But VCR, I don't think of Vancouver. I think of the thing that my mom used to show the tapes when I was a baby.
It's the same thing in math. It's the beginning letter, the middle, and the end.
And I love how you conveniently leave out Edmonton. EDM. What the first letters? Couple letters. Edmonton. EDM.
Electronic dance music.
That could be.
Although Montreal is also MTL.
Yes, so... that's another one.
But Boston's BOS.
I'm fine with MON, but MTL.
St. Louis STL.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Well,
that's the first 3 letters of St. Louis, unless you actually spell out Saint, which who does that?
like Chicago, CHI. Like I'm watching the game right now.
Easy,
it's always been CHI though.
Yeah, but Vancouver's is VAN. It's Van.
It's VCR in the Bure days. I'm telling you. Do I need to find old tapes? Maybe I got to pull up my VCR machine. I don't have one.
You got to pull up the VCR to show us the VCR. To show us the VCR cannot.
I'll say, see. I'll tweet it out.
Look, you want.
I will admit. I will say this though. Just brief tangent. My favorite moment from that whole kerfuffle on Twitter was when Elliott tweeted the VCR claims Yuri Patera. And someone like made an image of like a VCR floating like a UFO, like sucking up Yuri Patera like they were abducting him. I saw that. I'm like, this is hilarious.
But now
that was my favorite part of that.
all right, let's get back on the rails here.
Okay, I just wanted to mention
Yeah.
Reinhart because I know we're kind of wrapping up with Reinhart. We went on a little tangent there. Also, just an
Yeah.
all-purpose guy. And Paul Maurice, I said this when Reinhart came to town, when Maurice took over as head coach, he trusts his first 5 forwards, and he's going to play them a lot of minutes. Right now, Reinhart's almost at a career high this season. Last season, there was one season in Buffalo, he was just slightly higher, but he's over 20 minutes a night, guys, and all-purpose.
Yeah.
I mean,
But he only plays on the third line.
I'm
sorry, I had to bring out the old hits there. You gotta love the old hits sometimes.
You know,
but anyways, so just getting back to the actual numbers. So the 18.6%, if you're going off that 218 to 230 shots, that probably a fair amount to where he's going to end up. If he's shooting at 18.6%, that's 42 to 43 goals. Well, 40 to 43 goals, actually. I'm sorry. So, not that I'm a betting man, but if you see like hey, Sam Reinhart, the over-under on his goals is 35.5 for the year, I think the over is probably a good bet there, especially if he stays healthy. This is not actual advice, by the way. Do not blame me if you make that and it goes wrong. It's not my fault. I do not control anything. But I think just if you're gonna say, all right, you're getting 40 to 43 goals out of Reinhart, you're getting that defensive play, you're getting him doing what he does on a given basis. I don't really see how you could complain that much about it. And again, 40 to 43 goals. Yeah, it's a regression, but it's not that bad. Like, if he's putting up 40 goals, that's about as many as Tkachuk put up in his first season. Verhaeghe's put up, I think, 42. But
Verhaeghe's
not in Tkachuk's first season in Florida. I had my years mixed up there. But Tkachuk's first season in Florida, he had 40 goals. So if Reinhart gets 40 goals, I don't see how you could complain about that. Not really. Like, I get it. It's not 50. It's not 57. But how many teams in this league would kill for a 40-goal scorer who can play defense as well as Sam Reinhart does, who can play the PK as well as Sam Reinhart does?
Montreal's getting their goaltending fixed, Cody, and now you need that offense.
I mean, but you said 40-goal score. They haven't had a 40-goal score since Vincent Damphousse in '93. So
I mean, far since the
good first name though. Good first name though for Vincent Damphousse.
Better last name though. But in related news, as of this recording, Tomasz Nosek has been thrown on the LTIR, which means he cannot come back. His first game is not until November 2nd at the earliest.
I told you that, Cody.
Maurice was not very positive about his injury, which is always a pretty bad sign because Maurice usually does kind of, underestimate how long a guy will be out. Just kind of how it's been with him. Not trying to be critical because obviously he's got the cup ring. I don't.
Every coach does it. I don't.
But
care.
every coach does it. That's true. But it's like if he's being really bearish on when a guy might return, that does mean something.
So Nosek on LTIR, earliest return November 2nd. The Panthers call up camp standout Patrick Giles, who I thought should have made the opening night roster. But anyway, I digress. I expect him to be the 4C moving forward with the Barkov injury. As reported as of right now, he has avoided a major injury. So we are officially on the yearly Barkov injury watch, as we are every year.
Cody, what about your boy Lusto getting some center time while Barkov?
And as of projections, I have no idea what they're going to do, but I think it'd be something like this. Lundell gets moved from 3C to 1C. So you have Lundell. It's now Lundell, Reinhart, Rodriguez, because they flipped Verhaeghe and Rodriguez last game against Ottawa. Then you have Bennett, Verhaeghe, Tkachuk. Then I think you see Lusto get kicked back to center, and Jesper Boquist moved up to the third line where he should be. Eetu Luostarinen, Jesper Boquist, Mackie Samoskevich, and then Patrick Giles fills in at the 4C with him, Jonah Gadjevich, who's been surprisingly our best player this year, and
AJ Greer.
That is the guy. I forgot about him already.
And that's a big line. That's a tall fourth line because Giles, I think, is 6'4", about 215 to 220.
Hey.
Greer, I think, is 6'3", and Gadjo is 6'4".
Hey.
So tall fourth line is back.
Zito believes in the big fourth line. But anyway, But Kirby, I think we have some friends down south that need some merchandise now.
Now, where's your puck tonight?
We got. Well, you want these two, or
Hang on,
you
I
want
can
this
show you
one?
mine too. Actually,
Oh, Vince is going to jump
move.
in.
Have to move my graduation pictures. So
Even though this one I should throw out the window because we lost the
sorry,
series pretty
Dusty.
badly.
The Barkov Lady Bing one right there.
Okay.
Oh, the Lady Ving. Oh,
2021 Frank J. Selke. That's his first one. I need to get his other one. And then got that on sale.
Nice.
Doobie doobie doo.
Yeah. If anyone wants to send me more pucks, let me know.
Before we do get to that, though, Vince, just let everyone know where they can follow you and what you're up to right now.
Yep. So you can follow me on Twitter at the Vincent Shipe. So THE and then my name. And I also write from time to time for a Substack, which is called Frozen in Florida. I recently rebranded it under a new name. So just go to frozeninflorida.substack.com, give what I have there a read, and give it a subscribe and a like if you're interested.
It's always nice having you by, Vince, and we'll have you by here in another upcoming episode. But as Cody said there, CanesWear, Panthers Fever is here. Are you geared up? CanesWear and Davie is the place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team: jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. CanesWear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or at PanthersWear.com. Again, that's PanthersWear, WEAR.com, for all your Panthers gear.
And as always, let's go Cats.